Before this story truly unfolds, pause with me for just a moment. If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel. Not because this story is easy, not because it will make you feel safe or comfortable, but because some stories don't end when the screen goes dark. Some stories linger. They follow you into quiet spaces. They resurface when the room is silent and your thoughts finally speak. They sit beside you when you realize that certain feelings don't ask for permission before arriving. And if you've ever felt something you weren't supposed to feel, if you've ever stood close to a boundary you swore you'd never cross, if you've ever learned that the heart doesn't always respect logic or promises, then this story was meant to find you. Because not every story begins with love. Some begin with restraint, with glances that last a second too long, with conversations that sound innocent but feel heavy, with emotions buried so deeply that you convince yourself they don't exist, until one day, they refuse to stay buried. This is one of those stories. I never intended to fall for her. I didn't even allow myself to imagine it. From the very beginning, she was off limits, not just unavailable, not just committed, but untouchable in every way that mattered. She belonged to a life that was already written, a marriage that already had a rhythm, a future that didn't leave space for someone like me, and I was supposed to remain invisible in her world. Just a neighbor she passed, a familiar face on the sidewalk, a polite wave from a safe distance. Nothing more. That's what I told myself. But desire doesn't follow rules. And restraint, no matter how strong, always has a breaking point. Her name was Ia. She lived 2 houses down from mine, in a neighborhood that felt almost unreal in its perfection. The kind of place that looked carefully designed, like every detail had been approved by someone who believed happiness could be arranged if everything was aligned just right. Her house always looked the same. Fresh paint that never seemed to fade. Windows glowing warmly at night. A small front garden that bloomed even when the weather turned harsh. From the outside, it was the picture of completeness. A life that appeared whole. A life without visible cracks. Her husband, Daniel, traveled often for work. When he was home, his presence was unmistakable. His car filled the driveway like a warning sign. A reminder. A boundary drawn in plain sight. She was married. She was loyal. She was not mine. I repeated that truth to myself every time I saw her. But when Daniel left, something shifted. The house didn't feel peaceful. It felt hollow. The kind of quiet that presses in on you instead of comforting you. The kind that feels heavier than noise. And somehow, without knowing why, I felt that quiet too. At first, there was nothing dangerous about us. Just polite nods. Brief smiles. The occasional good morning or good evening. Simple. Harmless. Until the night that quietly changed everything. It was an ordinary evening. The kind that should have faded into memory like every other day. The heat from the afternoon was finally loosening its grip. The air had softened. Time itself seemed to slow down. I was sitting on my porch, not doing anything important. Just letting the day drain out of me. That's when I saw her. Barefoot. Moving slowly along the sidewalk. A mug cradled in both hands. Steam rose from it, curling upward before dissolving into the night air. She noticed me and smiled. Then she slowed. Then she stopped. "Long day?" she asked. Her voice was gentle, but worn. Not the kind of tired that comes from work. The kind that comes from carrying too much by yourself. "Every day," I replied. She laughed softly. It wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. But it settled somewhere deep inside my chest, like it had always belonged there. We talked for maybe 10 minutes. Nothing meaningful on the surface. The weather. The neighborhood. Small safe topics. But when she finally walked away, something stayed behind. The conversation ended. The feeling didn't. After that night, talking became routine. On sidewalks. Across fences. In moments that looked accidental, but never truly were. We spoke about books that lingered in our minds long after we finished them. About choices we made too quickly. About others we waited too long to make. About that quiet kind of loneliness that exists even when someone isn't alone. She never said a single bad word about her husband. Not once. And somehow, that made everything worse. Because this wasn't about anger. It wasn't about resentment or escape. It was about absence. I started noticing the small things. The way her smile softened when her phone stayed silent. The way it dimmed when Daniel's name appeared on the screen. The way she lingered when our conversations should have ended. The way her eyes searched mine, like she was looking for an answer she didn't want to ask for. And I noticed myself changing too, thinking about her late at night, replaying the sound of her laughter in my head, wondering what it would feel like to touch her hand. Just once. I told myself it was harmless. I was wrong. The tension didn't arrive suddenly. It built slowly, quietly, like heat trapped beneath the skin. Every glance carried weight. Every pause spoke louder than words. We both felt it. And we both pretended we didn't. Until the night everything finally broke.